Hello, this is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what can I do to make the airport experience better. Let's go. Okay, this is always an interesting one because when you go to the airport, what we say in the industry is people seem to pack their brains in their bags and they check them when they arrive at the airport. And it's because when you go to the airport, you normally see people, they're looking around, they don't know where anything is, and it's like they're in this really big space and they don't know what to do. My suggestion is the airlines are going to send you a number of pieces of documentation once you book your ticket, or if you book it through an online travel agency, they'll do the same. Read them. Make sure you read them because they will tell you things like, what documentation do you need? And I do a whole video already, a travel talk video about what documentation you need. So go back and check and take a look at that. They will also ask you the procedures. So it'll say you're allowed X number of bags and they must weigh this much. And when you get to the airport, you can use a kiosk to check in, or you can check in online. And those emails are very, very good. So that's the first thing I would say, is to read the emails. The next thing is to check in online. If you check in online and you don't have a bag, you don't have to go through the airport check-in process, because you already have your boarding pass and you're not checking your bag. So you can go straight to the TSA line, or if you're not in the United States, the security line, you can go straight to the security line. If you do not have if you have a bag to check, you can still check in online. But when you go to the airport, you do what's called a bag drop. So they normally have a facility for you to drop your bag when you get to the airport. If you've not checked in online and you do have a bag, when you get to the airport, they'll have a kiosk you can use, and you can check in at the kiosk and then give the agent your bag. If they don't have kiosks, or even if they do, sometimes you can go straight to an agent and check in. One thing that people just don't think about is if you have frequent flyer status, then you have a special line that you go to. And usually it's empty because there's not many people. With the percentage of people on the flight with frequent flyer status that can use that facility is very low. And so it's usually not crowded. The other piece too, and my nose is itching again. Every time I start a video, my nose itch or my eye itch. It's crazy. The other thing that you can do is make sure that you have your proper identification. Some form of government issued ID is usually required. So make sure you have that ready. Make sure you have it ready when you approach the agent. When you approach the agent, if you have to speak to a person, make sure you have your ID and make sure you know where you're going. So usually you can say, I'm going to Jamaica, for example. But if you're connecting in Miami, you need to say, I'm going to Miami and then Jamaica. So this way they can look on the Miami flight and find you. Yes, they can find you by your name, but it normally makes it just, a bit easier. So if you need a passport, have your passport ready. Make sure you have your visa if you need a visa, or whatever documentation you need to enter the country you're going to. If it's domestic, just make sure you have your proper identification in order to do that. Once you get through all the check-in, make sure your bag has the right weight, because if you don't, and the right size, if you don't, you're going to have to pay more, or you won't be able to take it with you. And sometimes on the website, they will tell you what, on the emails you get again, they will tell you what size your luggage should be, and all that kind of interesting stuff will be in there. So just read that email. It'll have everything you need, as a matter of fact. So you've checked in with the agent. You've released your bags, if you have bags. Now you have your boarding pass and you have your ID still. You're going to take that through security. If you have something called TSA pre-check, if you're in the US, you can go through a specific line, and you don't have to take your shoes off, take your computers out of your bag, take your liquids out of your bag. That's the other thing too with liquids. Make sure that if you have anything over 3.4 ounces, you put it in your bag and you've sealed it properly so it doesn't spill in your bag. I'd recommend you put tape around the cover and also put that in a Ziploc bag. So even if it spills, it won't mess up everything else in your bag. Don't overstuff your bag. That's usually an issue. It's an issue later on because sometimes because you've overstuffed your bag, the zippers are stressed. And when the zippers are stressed, they pop. And when they pop, all your stuff goes out. So just don't do that. So you go through security. You have TSA pre-check. If you had that, it'll show up on your badge, on your boarding pass. Sorry, a little thing will be on there. Or you can use, if you have CLEAR, CLEAR, this is also another facility that gets you through the airport quicker. It's a special service you have to pay for. Or if you have one of these credit cards, they will give you credit for it. So when you get to security, make sure you have your, be ready, right? Have your ID out, have your boarding pass out. Sometimes all they need is your ID. You never know what they need, so just have them both out and have them ready. Do not put your boarding pass in your mouth and then hand it to the security person, or put your ID in your mouth and then hand it to a secure person. That's very gross. I've seen people do it, just don't do it. So then once you finish with that, you're gonna go through security. If you gotta take your shoe off, take your shoe off. Or if you have to take your jacket off. If you don't have TSA pre-check, then you're gonna have to take your jacket off, you're gonna have to take your shoe off, you're gonna have to take your computer, you're gonna have to take your liquids out. Just be ready so you have all that stuff to go, so you don't hold up the person behind you. If you have children, let the children know what's happening, so they're not like, running around, because this is not a playground. You need to direct the children and tell them what to do and take them through the process. Don't waste people's time with the children running around. I see it all the time and it's unnecessary. And don't go, oh, they're just children. You need to tell them what to do, because they'll do it. They'll understand. Now, once you get through, make sure if you have TSA pre-check, you don't have to take all that stuff out. Or if you have CLEAR, you don't have to take all that stuff out. You just need to make sure that your liquids still have to be the right size, because if it's over, then they're going to see it in your bag and they're going to have you take it out. So if anything over 3.4 fluid ounces, sadly, you either drink it or you throw it away. That's a whole thing for another video. When you go through security, they will, every now and again, you'll be randomly selected. It's just how it works. And when you go through, they will do it either for a hand swab or a bag swab or something, or a pat down or something like that. So they will do that. Or you may have to go through the regular machine that everybody else goes through, and then you wait, and then they clear you. Once you're clear, don't forget your stuff. Lots of people do forget the things that they have. Try to keep everything inside your bag. Put as little as possible outside your bag, because that's going to cause problems and you will forget them. Trust me, you will forget them. Things like taking off your belt. If you have to take off your belt, try to put your belt inside your bag, because you end up forgetting them. I know people have left all kinds of stuff. The TSA will tell you that people have left their prosthetics at the TSA counter. I don't understand how you do that, but people have done that. So just be cognizant of what's going on. Realize that you're not the only person in the universe. There are other people there as well. And so don't waste time. Once you get out, because some people are late, it's not your fault they're late, but it will be your fault that they're later if you're taking your own sweet time and they need to go. So, be cognizant of other people that are using the facilities as opposed to just you. Once you get through, that's the hard part. You're good to go. Just get to your gate. Again, you're gonna need your boarding pass. You more than likely will not need your ID unless you're going international, and you have to show your passport. At the picture page is where you have to show it. So just tuck your boarding pass into into there and show it to the agent, and voila, you're good to go. If you have traveling with 5 people, every person has to have their own boarding pass and scan. So if you're traveling with the children, it's a different story. You take care of the children. But if you're traveling as adults or something, everybody needs to have their boarding passes out and have them scanned. Don't wait, and then when you get to the thing is when you're taking out the boarding pass. You're wasting time. Also, their group numbers. If you're group number 9, sit down. It's going to be a while. It's going to be like 20 minutes before it's your turn. Don't stand around and hang around and all that. If you wanted to be an early group, you could have bought a ticket, right? Pay extra for your ticket, become a frequent flyer if you wanted to board early. The fact that you're group 9 and they're boarding group 1 and you're standing right by the thing, it just causes congestion. You're not going to get boarded for a while. And they're not going to miss you. When they get to group 9, it'll be your turn. I know you want to be the first group 9, but you could have been the first. You could have been the last group 8, if that's what you wanted. So if you just don't crowd, because when you do, it creates chaos for everyone, and then everyone has to be like, excuse me, can I get through? Can I get through? And it just gets really, really awful. So step away. You don't have to sit down if you don't want to. Just step away from the boarding area, and when your row is called, or when your number is called, or when your group is called, that is a time that you approach. It's very simple. So once you get on a plane, put your stuff away quickly and move on. There are people behind you. So if you have to get your stuff ready, don't go, oh, I forgot my headset. I should have taken my headset. Oh, let me get my computer out. No, you're supposed to do all that before. What you can do is have a little bag, and this is your travel bag. So what you do, you put everything you're going to need on the flight into that bag. Put that bag in your carry-on bag. When you get to the airport, you take all those stuff out, re-zip your carry-on bag and put it away. So as they normally say, keep the jackets until after. Don't put the jackets in the overhead, because they're going to take up the space that other people's luggage could go in. The other thing is that you do not own the space above your carry-on. It is not yours. You can put your bag anywhere in the plane, anywhere. You should more than likely put it. So if you're like in group 9, chances are you're not going to have anywhere to put your bag. So once you're coming in, if you see a spot, take it. Don't wait and go all the way down. The other thing too is that people will, they can't find a spot. So then they have to put the bag all the way in the back. And then their seats are in the front. And then they have to come back up to the front. And so they're basically swimming upstream, which is not fun. Some airlines will offer, and it'll allow you to take your bag out, check your bag before you board, because they recognize that the overheads are going to be full. If you can do that, do that. I know there's a risk of them losing your bag, but if you want to do that, you can. There's actually a way for you to get around paying for your checked bag, as long as you can get through TSA security with it. I'm not encouraging that, but if this is something that you need to do, do it, because sometimes you can't find anywhere to do your bag. So then what happens is at the end, the agent has to print all the boarding tags. They come down, they tag the bags, and hopefully they tag the right bags. And then they put them under the hold. And then you don't collect them when you get out, when you get off the plane. You collect them in baggage claim at your final destination. That's where you collect those. The only bags that you can collect when you board is if there is, or when you just get off the plane, is if it's a small plane and there's no room in the overhead for those bags, then what they do, they give you a gate check tag, and then you can pick that up at the gate when you get off the plane. So don't forget, because if you forget, they'll take it to baggage claim, and that's where you have to pick it up. But they will give it to you but you just have to wait. So you have to wait for them to do that. So just, the question is about how to have a better airport experience. This is how you'll have a better experience. And if your carry-on is too big, you're going to have a bad experience, because then you're going to have to maybe ask someone. If you have to ask someone to help you to put your carry-on in overhead, it's too big. You got too much stuff. You should have checked it. I know people that, I'm team carry on, and I look at their carry on and I'm like, no, you're not. You should check that bag. But we're humans. We like to take a lot of stuff with us. One thing you can do to mitigate this is if you had 5 items on the last trip you did and you only used 2, and this trip is a similar trip, ditch the 3. You don't need them because you didn't use them the last time, right? And you're probably not going to use them this time either. If you used to carry 4 pair of shoes, just take 2. You don't need 4 pair of shoes for a short trip. Well, you may not. But I'm just saying, I know everyone is different, but just you're trying to help your fellow humans. When it's time for you to get off the plane, wait your turn. If you're at the back of the plane and we just got to the gate, sit your butt down. Do not run all the way up the aisle, because that's not cool. You're at the back of the plane. You need to wait. If you're at the front of the plane, it's a different story. You get up and you get your stuff off. And also wait, when I'm getting out of my row and you are like 3 rows or the next row behind me, wait for me to get out of my row. Don't be going over. Just wait. That's all it is. Just wait. So these are the things will help you have a better airport experience. And I hope it helps. So this is Kerwin with Travel Talk. If you got any questions, just let me know. Leave a comment or send me an email, feedback@fastbrider.com. Thank you so much and have a great trip and stay out of people's way. Talk to you soon.